Hi, I'm Rob Preston, and I run StrokeBuddies, and every Tuesday we try and bring you some useful information for your recovery, and we do that by talking to various experts. And today we've got two experts, and they're experts in yoga and other things. Rachel Jarmus is a yoga teacher, a 500-hour yoga teacher. That means that she's done a lot of work in yoga. She got better herself using yoga after physical therapy kind of failed her or didn't work the way she wanted it to. And at 500 hours, she's qualified to teach other people to be yoga teachers, and that's her mission. But I will let her talk about that. And Angelia is well known to Stroke Buddies, not that Rachel isn't, to the Stroke Buddies community because of our wellness group and breath classes and such. She has also a yoga teacher, but she also is a certified breath instructor. And I know she does some work in with trauma, but I don't know the official name or certification. So that's what I know. I know what I know about yoga. It's been very good for me. I'll chime in if I feel it really necessary. Otherwise, it's a discussion where you guys can listen to what these lovely ladies are up to and ask questions and see if it might not be a good fit for you. It's been a good fit for me. So, I don't know, Rachel, Angelia, whichever one of you want to go first, go.
Yeah, thanks for the intro, Ralph. Very excited to be here. I don't know. We wanted to kind of just start with a moment to welcome everybody in and just kind of pause, maybe put a hand on your heart and breathe or something. Because when we come into these things, we're all everything's going crazy, right? The day, everything. Angelia, if you want to lead like a breath practice here.
Sure, I would love to. Hi, everyone. My name is Angelia Abuhasan, and we're just going to take a couple minutes, maybe rock yourself back in your seat a little bit, maybe feel into the sits bones sitting underneath you. And we're going to just stop and connect in with your breath for a second, just seeing how you're arriving here in this space. And what we're going to do is empty the whole body out, empty everything you have out of the body. And we're going to inhale as deep as your body will allow, and then drop the mouth open and just let all that fall out.
Couple open mouth exhales.
3 more times. Try to open that mouth. Just let it fall out of the body. Let's do one more. Maybe wiggle the hands a little and let them fall on your lap. And since we have your presence here in this moment, we want to just thank you all for arriving here with us.
Yeah, there's a lot of people here.
Yeah, there is.
Your faces and people that I have done lots of yoga with. So that's exciting.
Welcome.
That's exciting. I think that we're here mostly to just kind of share what the heck has been going on with us, or what's been going on with me as I've talked about 500 million different things with this group and said all these things. And now I'm here to actually check in and be like, okay, we have an update. Angelia is here because she has completed the yoga teacher training this year from about January till
October, I think. September maybe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so she is now in her own community. We of course don't live in the same state. And like a lot of you are just all over. There's so many things popping up here. But so she's getting into her own community, gonna be teaching some chair yoga classes with some different populations because now she's a certified yoga teacher. And a stroke survivor and amazing. And so we just kind of wanted to share this journey and talk about some things that we're now going to work on together because we've obviously bonded and had like just kind of a really awesome time doing this. And we're like, why don't more stroke survivors do yoga? I don't know, but we can change it, or we can try, right? So we're just here to kind of open up some questions and see maybe what people want to talk about, and let Angelia kind of share her journey of what this yoga training has done for her and what it was like, right? What does the training look like?
Right. Just to explain a little bit, I have, you guys all know, I had a stroke myself in 2019. And in 2019, I found myself in a place where I had lost all mobility on my right side. My entire right side was gone. I lost my vision. I couldn't move. And I stayed in that space probably for almost a year and a half, nearly 2 years, like 18 months. And I landed into a therapy practice that was teaching me how to breathe. And when I learned how to breathe, all of a sudden my vision returned. And I was absolutely stunned at that point. And I decided from that moment to now, I was going to invest every single minute of my time and energy into understanding breath and yoga. And so that's what I did. I became a breathwork facilitator. I actually went and became a trauma practitioner as well, because trauma is a major part of this journey. Having a stroke is considered experiencing a level of complex PTSD or PTSD in your body. So I had to understand all of that, and I decided to go just a little bit deeper. I started working with Rachel one on one, just personally, about nearly 4 years ago. And in that journey of working with her, paired alongside breathing and all of my personal breathing practices, I started to realize that there was a deeper sense of energy in all of this. It was helping cleanse my body. It was helping reconnect my body. And then I started studying a little deeper and realized the nervous system impact that stroke had left me in. And that disconnection is all a neurological issue. So as I continued to practice with Rachel, I found a deep sense of connection returning into my body. My body was once in a state where it was a lot colder on the affected side. My skin tone, the temperature was much different. The movement was always delayed, incredibly delayed. And all of that I have seen change exponentially as I have practiced these modalities, breath and yoga together. And I went ahead and Rachel built this beautiful yoga school. And I decided that I wanted to train in this so I could share this with other people that were afflicted like I was. And the training, it's really hard sometimes for me to put all of this into words because the impact that it made in my psyche, in my physical body, in my energetic body has been so profound. Not only has it added an element of reconnection into my body through the asana practice, through the movement practice, it has added an element of spiritual and psychic like healing into my nervous system. And as I had continued to read and educate myself through this training, I learned more about the layers of the body and how impacted every layer can be. And pairing the education piece of it with the movement piece of it just exploded this sense of connection into my physical body and how my physical body can show up today. Now, I am not all the way healed, and I don't believe in that ED at the end of that word at all. I believe that I had a stroke, and this stroke impacted me on a very large level. And I will spend the rest of my life on a daily basis in a practice that works for me and my body, including these modalities in a way that works for me. And I have no problem honoring that path at this point. But at the beginning of all of this, I certainly didn't speak like this. I was severely depressed and I was severely dysregulated, both emotionally and mentally, because I couldn't figure things out. And as I've continued to step into empowering this journey and my personal ability to show up on this journey, I have seen great change. Now, am I going to sit here and say that's going to be like that for everybody? No, because everybody's stroke is as unique as they are. And everybody's experience is as unique as they are. But I do believe that putting forth the effort for your existence, for your experience, for your life is 100% worth the time and effort that it takes to build into a practice designed uniquely for you. Now, Rachel and I have gone through the full training and I have graduated. I am now a 200-hour Hatha yoga teacher on top of the other training, the modalities that I have trained in. And we have been working together and are still working together on bringing out a couple exciting things. The first thing that we are working on is we have developed a 2-hour workshop that goes in depth with practice that we are going to offer out to the community of stroke survivors, caregivers, and family members. And this is going to give a bit of a deep dive behind the science of it. And we are going to be practicing this modality. We're going to be practicing the asana, the movement part of yoga, and we're going to be practicing the breath part of yoga. And that we're planning on bringing out to you guys and in a two dated, like there's 2 dates for this. We're going to do it at the beginning of November, and then we're going to return again and do it at the beginning of December to give all the opportunity to come join us. And this is going to be a gift for this community. And the reason why Rachel and I are so excited about all of this is the profound effect that understanding how your energy works inside of your body is incredibly powerful whenever you are trying to repair from such a deeply impacted incident or incidents.
Right. I just want to jump in and say that, like, I love what you said about recovery, because I think that stroke survivors are always looking. So, well, I just want to recover. I just want to be better. I just want to get whatever it is that I'm going through and move through it and get over with it. Right. And be back how I used to be. Right. And we kind of emphasize that that's not really like what we necessarily want or want how to frame it like that, right? Because recovery is like never ending, right? You're a stroke survivor, and that's something you should be proud of for the rest of your life and be, embracing that. Not, oh, I'm just recovered from this little thing I had. We should, I wish that our community could just be okay with just being where we are right now and collectively coming together to breathe. I also want to make the distinction that yoga and breath work are not really separate. The industry has separated it. So now her and I are saying this stuff. I'm a yoga teacher. She's a breathwork facilitator. She's a trauma facilitator. I'm a 500 hours. She's a 200 hour. That's all just the framework of how the yoga industry has made this, right? Like yoga is 8-limbed, right? It's got 8 different paths, parts. Pranayama is one of them, right? Which is breathing. And it's not breath work because your breath should not be labored. It's breath expansion, breath connection, breath. I think expansion is the best word for it because we want our breath to really, what?
Breath awareness.
Breath awareness, to bring awareness into your breath, to have some sort of sense of what the heck we're talking about when we say breath and energy and layers of your body and these different facets that your nervous system is so like deeply embedded in all these things that it's like it's a lot. And as a stroke survivor myself, I know. And I came to yoga with a lot of deficits, a lot of physical deficits, and some of them have been remedied, some of them have not. I have accepted the fact that I probably will live with limited mobility for a good part of my life, and I'm okay with that because I can still do yoga. Just because you don't have the use of an arm or a leg does not mean that you cannot do asana, which is the physical posture of yoga. So we talked, I don't want to get too much into the 8 limbs because that's what the workshop is for, to really kind of just outline each part of yoga, but we do have a physical practice. We do have breathing. We also have like reflection, meditation, moments where we're just here, right? And so, yeah, her and Angelia and I are going to be teaching this amazing workshop online November and December, and really want to continue to build this out into in-person workshops where we're actually like able to, you know, touch everyone and get close and show, hey, why don't you try it like this? Or, hey, can I offer you a block? Can I offer you support? That's what we're here for, is just to support everybody as they kind of peek into this world that's been so like forgotten about, right? It's just like, I don't know, nobody wants to talk about it. So we are. And also going to be starting a YouTube channel, the two of us, where we'll just show like adaptive hatha yoga stuff, right? Like, what even does that mean? I don't know, right? Like, that's where we want you to start at, really just with a curiosity of like, shit, I don't know what it is, right? And yeah, also the yoga school that we're talking about is a nonprofit, so there is no, like, the tuition is all work study based and application based in terms of like being a stroke survivor and really being committed to this practice. My biggest message to stroke survivors really is that yoga is very expensive in the community and very out of reach for folks like us, right? And I know that. I live in Boulder, Colorado, and I go to classes and people are like, you're a stroke survivor? What? You know, nobody knows what to do with us. They're just like, what? And so we're trying to repair that a bit and get this community into connection.
Yeah, we're trying to bridge that gap.
Right? And so My Yoga Will is the school that if you are curious about like the curriculum or whatever, you can find that. And then Yeah, find her and her breathwork stuff. Angelia's got amazing breathwork credentials that I don't have. And that, to be honest with you, a lot of yoga teachers in present day world wouldn't even really learn. Like, I don't know that people associate yoga with breath like they should, really, right? I mean, it's like they think of it as separate things. And it's not. It's
Mhm.
it's not, right? So that's my spiel. That's my goofy spiel about everything and the
Understanding how to work with your body and is understanding how to work with your breath,
I have to grab
is
my water. Right.
understanding
Well,
how to,
it's yeah, continue. It's
yeah.
literally like I get flubbed up with my words because I'm like yoga and stroke just like make sense together because a stroke is a disconnection from whatever part of your body or from whatever part of your brain. And yoga literally, by definition, means union. So we're taking something that is a disconnection and we're offering things that help kind of bring you back into not the person that you were before, but a new person. That now this person can be lots more fun. This person can do yoga. Shit, I never did yoga before my stroke. Like, no, my stroke led
Right.
me to all of this and has made me a better version of myself. And I think that
Right.
that's what this kind of allows. And it's fun to talk about.
Hmm. Healing after a stroke, too, is
I have to grab.
done in layers. This is not something that you can, like, you didn't just break a bone. Your stroke affected all
Right.
the layers of your body. And understanding that piece of it, and then complementary bringing in pieces or actions or activities or practices, whatever you want to call them, to help guide the body into that union that Rachel was talking about. We're trying to open up space for that is for the economic challenges that we have, not just the physical challenges that we have. That's why, doing this underneath the umbrella of a nonprofit is really important to us. So we can turn around and come back into our community because this is Rachel and I's community. We are both affected by a traumatic impact of a stroke. And I see in my experience, I have seen a countless amount of professionals that have not had the direct impact of this experience. So it's really hard. What I have found as I have walked through this is that it has been a really hard thing to get them to understand what is actually going on inside of here, inside of this body, right? And what I noticed when I started working with Rachel as a stroke survivor is that I could communicate with her much differently than I could have communicated with any of the professionals. And I'm not at all saying don't go see your professionals. That's not what I'm saying here. I just am saying like this added an element of healing and built into a community space because, really importantly, I have to stress like we don't heal alone. We don't. When we're stuck in our homes and we're not able to get out and go amongst the common public, like you're not going to isolate and find healing. That was a big piece for me to be able to get on Zoom and build community with people that were like me that helped guide me through a practice that was uniquely designed for me. And the more that I practiced into it, the more I learned what my body's new ways we're going to allow, what my capabilities were going to be. My goodness, we were in practice last week and we had, we hold a space weekly right now where Rachel teaches the asana. And at the end of all of this, I do breath and meditation as part of this. And the gentleman stated in the class how he didn't even realize that part of his body did what it did through the practice. He was so surprised by that. And we were absolutely elated because that's the fun piece of this, is that component of curiosity that occurs because all of a sudden you may be in practice and you will find that your body is moving in a different way suddenly. And you didn't even know that you had that kind of ability or connection within your body.
I want to
And
make
that's
sure, hold on. I want to make sure that we're reading these comments because I'm hearing that there are people connecting to yoga, and I just want to make it clear that we're not saying that like people are not being exposed to this. If you have a community within your neighborhood that you can feel comfortable going to yoga and doing, amen to that. Like, that's a beautiful thing. I don't have that. I wasn't afforded that at the time of my stroke. And so this mission kind of lives on making sure that that doesn't happen again, that people don't fall through the cracks, and that, yeah, a day rehab program over here, a day rehab program over here, maybe a monthly class over here, they all pop up, right? And some of us have been fortunate to receive that. A lot of us have not. Like, a lot. Yoga therapy is entering the hospital now as like prescription based. So if you have good insurance, you can go see your neurologist or your, I would assume, any primary care doctor and get a referral to see a yoga therapist, which would essentially be very similar to actually what Angelia and I are doing. We just don't want people to feel like they have to have something to be able to do it. You know, like we have to have really good insurance, or we have to have a really good community around us that embraces this. That was not my experience with yoga. My experience with yoga was being like looked at like a freak and like being told things like, well, I don't really know what to do with you. You know, do what you can, da 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 da. And so that's literally what it did. I think going back to what Julia was saying about community is that we want stroke survivors to be able to do yoga with fellow stroke survivors, right? I don't want to be going to the class that all the hot 20-year-olds are at doing their headstands and all that stuff. And then I'm looking like an idiot in the corner because I need a chair or whatever. No, we're trying to break some of those things and give people real community where they can connect, do yoga from their own homes, or if you are fortunate enough to have a studio that you're comfortable going to. I have often helped people get to that point in terms of like understanding yoga, understanding what props you might need to go to a class, understanding what props are, and just like Angelia said, doing something that works for you. It is actually not possible to not be good at yoga or to not be able to do yoga. Like, it's not possible.
Yes.
And I see somebody else asking here, I want to stay with these questions because
definitely, if you can breathe, you can do yoga.
So the certification is right. And people are saying, yeah, yoga helped me recover more than traditional therapy, right? And that's kind of what we believe, or what I shouldn't say we, what I believe is the reason that this is not mainstream, right? Is because they don't actually want this community to get better, right? We make more money for them on all kinds of stuff. And so this stuff, if you've gotten exposure to it, great. If you haven't, we are here to help with that. Maybe bridge you with a community yoga studio around you so that you can feel comfortable there, get into a flow of weekly classes, or come on and try classes with either of us online, right? And so the
Right.
certification, let me make sure I get back to the question because I'm seeing these questions at the bottom and I'm like blabbering. The certification is a 200-hour yoga teacher training program, right? So that is exactly what it means. I'm a yoga teacher and have no idea how to modify. Right. Well, that's the thing is that, you know how many people I talk to that say, I used to teach yoga before my stroke, and now I don't know how to teach it. See, and I'm a little jealous of that person because they have yoga background that I don't. I started yoga after my stroke. So I only know yoga from a limited perspective. So I think that's what makes me a very unique teacher, because I can kind of look at your body and be like, oh, we just need to do this. You know, we just need to get you here. Angelia and I were just talking about when I said she was going to do a shoulder stand on a chair, and she was like, you are not even serious. And then like 10 minutes later she was in it and she was just like, yeah, this feels really nice. And I was like, yeah, with the right support you can find the version of that pose that works for you, and it's just like amazingly wonderful. Yeah, we're going to talk a lot more about the exact, let's say, research behind this. That's why we're teaching a workshop, so that we can really present this in terms of like, yes, doctors have studied this. Yes, there have been multiple studies about this, confirming that it works in different aspects of balance and mental health. It's not getting to the people, right, in the way that it should be, because those guys have like done their work. They've done the studies. They've done it. It's in our hands now. So we are taking it upon ourselves to bring this to the people, right? It's like yoga for the people, but that's already an organization that I think is out in Oregon. So
we like to call it yoga for everybody. Everybody. And I have to say real quick, I am so ecstatic that we're getting messages that say that they are trying yoga. I love that. I love that you are finding a path into this, because this has been one of the most surprisingly impactful things that I have tried. And this is impactful on so many layers that it affected all of my healing, not just the healing that I needed to do from the physical impact of the stroke. It affected the emotional healing of the baggage that I was carrying prior to the stroke. It affected the mental healing that I was struggling with because of all this baggage I was carrying prior to the stroke. And that impact of trauma, and I know this word trauma kind of gets thrown around a lot, but it is very wide within the body systems. The body remembers, even if you don't want to remember, even if you think that you are through it because you've gone to therapy, even if you think that you're just over it because you're just done dealing with it, your body will always remember those patterns. And those patterns come in and they are set in the body through the breath. And the breath is what's communicating to your nervous system. And your nervous system is what is communicating throughout your whole body. And if you are walking in a space of dysregulation in these patterns, it affects everything, as you see. Because
right.
we are all sitting here with the leftover impact of what this absolutely horrific experience has brought into our lives. And to be able to understand how to work within a body that doesn't verbally communicate, it has been probably one of the best things that I have ever invested in, the best gift I have ever given myself. And I am coming from a place of a lifetime of challenges dealing with all of these things. And in that lifetime of challenges, this is the one thing that I have found that has actually brought a sense of energetic change into my heart, into my mind, and deeply into my soul. And I know people get a little weirded out whenever you talk about spiritual fitness, but this is about spiritual fitness. This is about energetically understanding how to work with your spirit. Your spirit is that breath. It is the, somatic expressions that we have. And this has just been, I can't say it enough. This has just been the most beautiful thing I have ever gifted myself, ever. And every single one of us, no matter what has happened in your life, every single one of us deserves a good life. We deserve to give ourselves the things that are going to fill that life up, no matter where you're at and no matter what your body's capable of doing. You deserve the opportunity to gift yourself the presence of a really great experience, and having fun curiosity in that is just a bonus on it, because that's really what this has been, is about how do I create the expression of joy back into my life? How do I, create the expression of connectivity back into my heart? How do I create an expression of connection back into a body that wasn't listening to me? Because it wasn't. I sat there for nearly 2 years, very, very limited mobility. I couldn't see, I couldn't anything, and now I can move my body around and I have my vision back. I have a sense of presence that I have never been able to walk with before. And those things are immeasurable gifts for life. And I got to tell you that the program that Rachel has designed, not just like the fact that I worked with her for a few years before I even dove into the education part of this, the training part of this, like that was very, very helpful because she helped me test my limits. But the education piece of it helped me unlayer the onion, or unlayer all the trauma and release it all, and allowed me to learn how to become me again. Become me now, actually, is a better way to say that, because I'm not doing anything again. Everything I'm doing from this point on is all new.
It is. I was in the comments, Kim was saying that it's like a new discovery every day. And that's exactly what yoga is. Is like you get on your mat and you're like, whoa, what am I gonna find out today? And it's not like good or bad stuff. It's just, well, this isn't working so well, and this maybe will work better. And let's switch some things around and make it work, right? I put in the chat Angelia's website and my website if you want more information. And then the teacher training is on My Yoga Will. You can look at the drop down that says YTT, and then there's the whole curriculum there. You can see everything that it is 4 modules of yoga humanities, philosophy, anatomy, and hold on, I should know them all, right? They're on the website. And the last one is teaching methodology. So if you really have a desire to say teach in your neighborhood, teach a chair yoga class, teach a adaptive stroke survivor class for your community, this is a really cool way to get involved with the Yoga Alliance and kind of make a splash in the yoga community, right? Like, I feel like they need to hear from us and like know that like we're here, and a lot of us are doing yoga and seeing really amazing results from it. And I don't know, just imagine if every like YMCA had a stroke yoga class, you know, twice a week for stroke survivors to commune and share yoga practices, and then like, you know, get out into yoga studios. The more confident you are with yoga, the more you're going to go into that studio and not give two shits what anybody says about anything. And you're like, listen, I'm trained, I know what I'm doing, back away. And there are a lot of great yoga teachers out there that will respect that and may even offer things that will help, right? My biggest thing with them is that it's just like they're not a stroke survivor, you know? So if somebody's telling me something from a yoga perspective that's not like in my body or knowing what I'm feeling, I tend to get a little bit offended, right? Because I'm like, no, you don't understand, right? And so that's a bigger reason why we're doing this, is because we want people to feel like they can do it and they have all this support, and there's a group, whether online or in your own community, that you can connect with and say, hey, yesterday I went to a yoga class and I did Uttanasana in a really cool way, and I want to tell you about it, right? And then this community forms, and we can actually, like, what I say, kind of like take hold of the yoga community ourselves, right? And just build this out how we want, right? Like, I think that people should unmute themselves and say,
Yeah, Ralph,
if
I
they
think, is
want to say something.
wanting to ask a question.
You're muted, Ralph.
I wasn't trying to interrupt.
No, interrupt me, please. Y'all know how I talk.
I had an idea for all people out there in YouTube land. Hopefully, hundreds of people will watch this in the future. And that is, Dr. Hetzler asked me before the meeting how I found yoga beneficial. So I thought I would talk for a couple of seconds about that. We also have 3 other stroke survivors here who, in the comments, all said that yoga played a key in their recovery. One said more so than PT, like you, Rachel. And I don't know if they're willing to talk. I'm not going to speak for them, but they're Trent and Anna D and Joy. So I'll go first. So when I asked her, Dr. Hetzler, I said, well, I first started doing it, I couldn't get into a figure 4 and sit straight up. No problem now. Okay? Didn't practice it, just did class. The first time I was early on taking a yoga class, there was a seated move, bring your knee to your nose. And I went, whoa, to my nose? Well, guess what? Cheeks, ears, it's not a problem now. Also, I found, so it's helped a lot with my flexibility. I've also found that it helped a lot with my balance. I've been using it kind of intentionally. Let me admit somebody in the waiting room. I've been using it intentionally to help with my balance. Early on, we'd do the various warriors in the chair, and I wanted to be able to do them standing. So the first thing I did was I got up, I stood behind the chair, and I'd hang on and get my feet in the right position, and when I felt comfortable, I'd let go. And then as I felt more and more comfortable about that, well, this is interesting because I talked to Rachel about this. When I kept the chair near me, it hindered me. So I pushed the chair away and I just go into them in either direction, no problem. So, there are other things. I found it really helps with, I don't know, calming, getting outside yourself, whatever. Kind of like Angelia was talking about. So those are a couple of things it's done for me. I don't know if any of the other three, Trent.
Yeah, I want to put Julia's name in that too, because Julie Rochester here is somebody I have actually met in person and gotten to do yoga with in person. And so if she's willing to share, I would love to hear just anything from either her, Joy, or Kim had a lot of comments. I'd love to chat with
Yes, Rachel,
anybody.
you know, I did a lot of yoga and very difficult vinyasa classes before my stroke, which was almost 2 years ago now. And I had no idea that I could participate in something like that again until you showed me how. I've been working with you for almost a year, and you did come in person to see me. I came in person to see you, and you took me back to my studio and gave me the confidence to be able to go back there once in a while and do classes with a chair, and I bring my own stuff now, and it's been great. And also, I'm finding that I still have a lot of limited mobility on my left side, but I'm still finding that I can do things now that I was not able to do before my stroke. Like when I went to visit you, Rachel, you helped me with the process and the props of getting into a headstand, and I was never able to do a headstand before my stroke, and it just shocked me.
Right? Oh, I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
She was like, I can't do that. And then literally 2 seconds later, she's upside down and I'm taking a picture. And I'm like, wait, you can't do what now?
Yeah.
Right?
It was a great feeling just to be able to do some of those things again. And I also wasn't able to do like tabletop or downward dog when we first started because my wrist was so sore. And now I can do that. I try and do that a little bit every day.
Yeah, that was,
Right?
go ahead. That was another one for me. I took a live lesson, and the teacher, in a safe way, pushed me into like a downward dog and a sun salutation, getting it back up and down. So I've learned another way of getting back up and down. Not that I had a real problem with it, but I don't know. I think anything you learn is good. And I didn't know, Julie, about you because you didn't make a comment. So thanks for chiming in. My point with all this is, the people out there that are maybe thinking about this, and if they hear from, some of us about what it did for us, that might turn the tables for them. So I don't know if,
Definitely.
I don't know.
Kim, do you have
Right?
your hand up?
Yeah, somebody's got their hand up and
Yes,
yeah.
that's me.
There's Anity. All right.
Hi.
Hi. Yoga is very good for me. I currently live on top of my yoga studio. Well, a little to the side, but my yoga studio is downstairs, and they really help me. Like they help me get on the floor. They help me get up. She has even created a chair yoga class because she wants to include people with disabilities and
Where
or
are you located if you don't mind sharing?
Missouri.
Missouri.
I
Yeah.
Wow.
love that. I
That
love
is
that.
incredible. I am so blessed to hear that and that you shared that with us because there are a lot. I mean, I learned yoga in a yoga studio with a teacher that was very much like, we'll figure it out.
Yep. And
Right.
I was doing moves and she was like, "Oh, you can do it. You can do it." I said, "Oh yeah." But see, I was a PE teacher before I had my stroke. So I was very active and I've been trying to stay active doing water aerobics and all kind of stuff. I don't lie. I don't lie in pity, fault. I don't lie. I have to move. I have to move. Sometimes I get, a certain way about this, but most of the time I try to keep myself up.
Honestly, some of my favorite yoga classes though are the ones where you just kind of lay there, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
you
Oh
have
yeah.
support from pillows or like somebody
Oh,
comes
I
and
love
relaxes your
restorative
shoulders.
yoga. Restorative.
Right? Yeah, the restorative yoga is personally my favorite. But also gosh, the things that our bodies can do that we don't even know, right? It's like you're able to explore and do stuff and God, I love that. I love that. I love that. And if they start a chair yoga class,
Yeah.
you could think about maybe one day teaching one, right? For people like you that are looking for this. Ralph, I see a hand.
I
Oh, I
don't
was
know
just gonna
how.
say, if people look around, you'd be surprised how many. They're not necessarily taught by stroke survivors, but there are a number of adaptive classes around. Like where I live, it's not a big city. It's Myrtle Beach. It's touristy around here, but the YMCA, Yoga in Common, and what's the name of Lauren's studio? There are at least 3 studios around here that are offering chair or adaptive yoga. And the teachers, just the fact that they're offering that means that they're willing to deal with whatever comes through the door, and stroke will come
Sure.
through the door along
Right.
with
That's
other things.
my thing.
Also, I
Yeah.
discovered that there's actually something called water yoga, and a friend of mine is certified in water yoga, and I've been thinking about that might make a very good video.
Hey,
That's wonderful.
Hold on. What do you want to say, Anadi?
no, Kim, I saw
Oh,
this.
I'm sorry, Kim.
Saw this on YouTube. On YouTube. I was like, wow, how can I get in there live? All of a sudden, I got an email. I don't know how I got it, but I got it. Okay, and so I'm here today, and this little class or this workshop adds value to my life as well.
Thank you for sharing that. I
Wonderful.
know Joy
Thank
was
you.
messaging that she's not camera ready, so she doesn't want to be on camera. So
I
if you
know
want to
Anna
stay off
Dean and
camera and just
Trent,
comment, what?
Anna Dean and Trent still have their hands up too. Rachel?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. Anadi.
Yeah, I just wanted to share a few things. First of all, I'm really happy to be here. I'm actually a health practitioner by background, occupational therapist to be specific. Just had a very unfortunate situation with the stroke when I was left paralyzed for 3 weeks, both legs, and all I did was visualize yoga poses and breath work because
Mhm.
that's what I was doing before. I am a mother of 2 young kids, toddlers, and I was like, what can I do to get my body to move again? And all I did is visualize, think about the poses because your brain has memory of the movements. And if you do that, that helps strengthen the connections. So some of those who want to get into yoga, think about, visualization. Even if you cannot do the movement, that will really add those connections to your body. Really happy to be here. I'm looking for adaptive yoga classes and trying to teach myself through some of the things that I know. I found a friend who's helping me, but thank you, Ralph, for mentioning YMCA. I think that would be a good option to go to as well, to learn some
But
adaptive yoga.
you got the email because you joined one of our groups or something, and you're on our email list. And so glad you're here today. And I just want to reinforce that visualization does work. It's been studied. Dr. Hetzler and I have actually talked about the power of mental imagery and visualization, but we won't bore you with that. It's not boring.
Yeah. So
We'll go into that today, but let's just say visualization works. It's been studied in triple blind studies, and it's a viable method of recovery, not only in yoga and that type of visualization, but the other physical type recoveries. So
Trent, what's up?
you're muted.
Yeah, you. It's okay.
There he is.
How about now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, so I just kind of wanted to add the conversation. My wife is always done yoga. I really kind of gave her a hard time about it, and I didn't see the benefits of it prior to my stroke. And fortunately, I was in a day neuro program that offered that. The recreational therapist would come in and offer yoga and adapted that to whatever deficits I had or anybody else had. But man, I had so much relief from tone and different issues I was having. And it brought back mobility in a way I just really couldn't have gotten from any other therapy that I was going through there. And I came to enjoy that time. Still do it now and still practice. I would say I'm far from being anything special at it, but it does help. And the other thing I wanted to add that when we were talking about the spiritual side of it and visualizing it, that whole bit, stress is a big time factor in inflammation in the body, and yoga is a great way to release that. So I think for me, it was just basically getting it out that it's kind of I was a person that would I was going to be uncomfortable through that process, and I wasn't a believer in yoga, but I am now. And there's a lot of benefits to it. So anybody that hasn't tried it, I highly recommend it.
Great
I can
comment.
say for myself too that yoga has not always been a comfortable journey, right?
Mhm.
It's uncomfortable, and I think the uncomfortableness is necessary, right? To a certain degree, because that's how we build our nervous system resiliency, right? So you're not
Right.
allowed to feel like, shit, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not good at this. I'm nobody special in yoga. That's like, I tell myself every day. I'm like, I'm still a student. I'm learning. I've been practicing like 15, no, like probably 12 years or so. But I went to India last year to do my certification and was able to connect with some people there that are doing some really cool research in terms of inpatient yoga, right? Getting yoga, not just in a day rehab program or like my neighbor does yoga or something, but actually having a yoga therapist come into your hospital room and breathe with you, hum with you, regulate your nervous system so that you can get into a place of that connection again. And so he is somebody that comes on once in a while. I know there were a couple of people disappointed that they missed him because I didn't record it or anything, but he's somebody that very much uses breath, visualization, mantra, vibrations of the vocal cords inpatient. We're talking about people that are in the hospital, right?
Right.
And they're
Right.
having that's really cool and like so special that that's happening. I myself just didn't really care to be a yoga therapist because I don't want to be in another system, right? Teaching, I have a very unique way of teaching. So if somebody comes to me and says they've done yoga before, that's great, but you're also going to do some different stuff with me that your chair yoga teacher probably is not teaching you in a group class. You know, the inversions, the different ways to use the breath, the ujjayi when you're trying to move energy or shift something.
I got to tell you, not to interrupt you, Rachel, but I got to tell you all, when I first started working with Rachel, I would walk out of her classes and I would feel so awful. Like I just physically would feel so awful.
Right.
For
Your body
days
kind of feels like it was
afterwards.
hit by a car in a lot of different
Right.
ways after you do yoga because you're using all these muscles that you really didn't even know you had. And so
Well,
it's
and
like,
I was using the breath in a way that I hadn't used before. So understanding that component, you are actually almost enforcing a detox in your body because your lymphatic system begins to build up whenever you are not breathing properly. And it's holding or housing a load of toxicity within it. And I didn't understand that until I got really deep into this practice and started to really realize, why is it that I keep feeling like garbage? So when your yoga teacher, if you are doing yoga with anybody, they tell you to hydrate. That's such an important piece of this. So you can flush your system while you are practicing, whether it be an asana practice or a breathing practice. These
yeah, and
modalities
traditionally yoga
can be
is done
very
on an
powerful.
empty stomach so that we're like really moving things through our body. And there's big debate within the yoga community about is yoga actually detoxifying? Is it actually this? And the thing is that we can't say much of what it actually is, because there is a little mystical component to this, that is that you believe in a multi-layered human as a like a multi-dimensional person, or like you don't. And so if you're not connecting with that part of it, yoga may be very hard to connect with. Not everybody is going to have the same benefits. I personally love yoga. And so I think that it does me more good because I'm so obsessed with it. But the research that we have does prove that yoga helps with balance. And we're going to go way into more of that, like specifically what in the studies,
Yeah.
when the studies were, the doctors that conducted the studies, when it was repeated, because they've been done 2, 3, 4 times, all concluding the same thing.
Right. Let's talk about what we're actually doing too. Let's make sure that everybody knows every Wednesday, Rachel and I are holding a class on Zoom. And if that is something that you guys want to come and try out, the class is this Wednesday. It is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. That would be the time would be needing to be adjusted for your specific time zone. And if you need help doing that, feel free to reach out to either one of us. We can get you the link for that. And then we are going to start promoting the workshop that we have created, and that we are going to be doing at the beginning of November. The dates will be determined. We haven't gotten quite that far yet, but we're going to do it probably the first week of November is what we've talked about. And then again, doing that one more time in December to allow for everybody to have the opportunity to come try this out in a group setting, with some education.
Right. It's the biggest
asana
piece of
practice.
it is the research, right? And getting kind of
Right.
into Ralph. Sorry, go ahead. I don't want to.
No, I'm just, I'll wait my turn.
I see a hand, and
I was just going to say to Angie's comment that I take the class, but I also promote it, and I post twice a week about it with the Zoom link in 8 of the Stroke Buddies groups. And if you can't find it, actually we have a links group that only has the things that we do. It's in there, Stroke Buddies links. So it should be easy to find. You have any problems, you can messenger me and I'll send you the link. So,
Sure.
so
Yeah,
definitely.
So come join
nobody's
us for
got an
class.
excuse not to come.
Hmm?
So I said, nobody's got an excuse not to come.
Right. There are
Right.
so many ways to find the link. The link is on my website as well. I usually post on Instagram like the week of, reminding people, and maybe on Facebook. But I'm not honestly on social media a lot. So the best way to connect with me is to just go to the website, send me an email, whatever. There's a scholarship form on there if you are interested about teaching. There's only about 5 to 6 spots that are going to be open for January, right? And so I'm looking for people that are really like into it and gonna be like, you have to give a commitment of a year of teaching within your own community, and then the training is yours. You do have to pay for your certification through the Yoga Alliance to get insured and officially certified. The foundation or the school does not pay for that. So that's on you. The training is scholarship based though. So you're getting materials, books.
And the training takes about 9 months.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, the length of the training is about 9 months long, give or take.
I'm going to put the links to anything and everything that they're talking about and that they give me in the description underneath this video for those of you here today, and those of you out there in YouTube land, thanks for watching. So go to the description, click the little thing that says ... more, and you'll get a whole list of their contact information and any links that they want to the upcoming workshop or anything that they're doing. Anything they send me, I'll put in the description.
Awesome. This was so awesome. I'm so glad to see so many faces on here.
Definitely. This was incredible.
Thank you, Ralph.
everybody.
This is so nice. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Ralph.
I wasn't trying to end it. Well,
No, I thought you were wrapping it up.
No,
so
no,
I'm
no,
like,
no.
what is it?
I sometimes, you're right, because I often do that at the end, and if we go on for a while, I'll do it again at the end just to remind people. But we've been working on trying to build up the Zoom, the online community, because it's a really good way of sharing knowledge. Look what happened today. We had 3 or 4 people that seriously benefited from doing yoga, and they showed up. And they told us about it. How cool.
You know what? Wait, I want to say one more thing because Michelle is here and Michelle has worked with me and I think Angelia, right? Both with doing some stuff. And she has a cool, I don't know, Michelle, if you're not wanting to be seen, I don't want to call you out, but I saw that
you can speak and not be seen.
I think some of us are not wanting to be seen, and that is totally fine. Right?
Definitely.
That is fine. But I just wanted to say that there were a couple other people here that I know I've worked with and just love to hear these accounts of people that are using yoga, whether it's with me or with someone else or on YouTube or what. Somebody just told me P90X has a yoga program. I'm like, that's wonderful. Do it all the yoga that we can have. Right? It's good stuff. We're just personally working on building this community that is yoga based, right? Yoga based for stroke survivors. And yeah,
I think this is
remember
wonderful.
when somebody had asked me very early on in my teacher, like when I first started teaching, well, Rachel, why do you think more stroke survivors don't do yoga? And I was like, honestly, I don't know. This was probably like 5 years ago. I was like, I don't know. And the person that was with me on the interview said, I think it's because there are not any stroke survivors teaching yoga. And I said, that's it. That's what it is. There's Michelle. Michelle, you're muted.
Oh, you're muted.
She's still muted.
Oh, wait, now I got both. I figured it all out at the very end.
She got
Hi,
the
Michelle.
and the sound, right? So Michelle and I have done a lot of yoga together, and she knows my kind of quirkiness and goofiness when it comes to yoga. And I don't know if she wants to say anything or talk about yoga in your own community, because I know you've gone to some chair classes in New York.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes such a difference when you feel like the teacher understands you. And understand some of what's behind, like you talked about the baggage and the emotional aspects. And then huge. I mean, when I had my stroke anniversary and I tried to think of like, has anything good come from my stroke? And I thought, Rachel, like that connection was actually the first thing that I thought of. Was I connected with someone who I like and is funny and is positive and is part of my life, and there's no words for how big that is. That's really huge.
And the thing about it is I get so like I'll start blushing when somebody talks about me like that, because I don't want the credit for it. What I encourage Michelle to do is that you could do that for people in your own community, right? I'm not that unique that I'm like some like morbid person that can just do all this stuff. Like my mission is to get regular folks to feel like they can do this too. And that you can be that light for somebody, because like yoga was not offered to me really at all in my recovery. Although I did start it in a day rehab program, but it wasn't part of the day rehab. I had to go outside of it to find it, and then just literally fell in love. Like I've not stopped doing it since. But the reason that there are not more stroke survivors participating in yoga, what I believe, and now that I've built the teacher training and got this done, is because there are not enough of us teaching yoga. Really, we need to get out there. We need to be seen, and then we will attract people like us, right? Because that's the whole deal of a yoga teacher is you teach a class and then you attract based on like your teaching, right? And so more teachers out there are going to pull stroke survivors out of their houses into places where they feel like, hey, this doesn't suck so much, right? It's not so bad. It doesn't have to be miserable all the time. There are moments of joy that we can find, even if it's in like a child's pose that just feels so cozy that you're like, oh, this feels nice, right? It's that nice moment that we get that, yeah,
It's like bringing that component of safety, that conversation of safety back into the body, in a body that is incredibly disconnected. It's really a challenge to bring that component of safety into it. And I just want to say real quick, Lisa, happy stroke anniversary. Today she's celebrating 3 years, right? Oh, you're muted, hon.
Yes, thank you so much.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, Michelle, it's awesome to see you here too. You know, this has been a very powerful conversation, I think, to begin in this community. And I am just really feeling so much gratitude in my heart that we've had the opportunity to come here and open up safe space with everyone and explore this topic and find out from the community who all is interested and curious and practicing. I think that that's just absolutely fabulous.
Winnie, did you
So,
want
well
to add
done.
anything? Know about yoga, Winnie? I have done a few yoga sessions, right? And she was kind of surprised with some of the stuff that she could do. I don't mean to call anybody out, but I want to make sure that everybody feels seen, right? And if you don't want to be seen, then just
That's okay. Yep, I still do some of the things you showed me. So I've been working on it gradually and improving slowly. Thanks.
I love it. Yeah, we had some fun together doing some different things, and she continues that on her own, which is the beauty of yoga, is that if you learn little things that you really like, then you just do that, right?
Yep.
It's so good to see you here, Winnie.
Yep. I'm so glad to see you folks too.
I wanted to let you all know too, I do a breathing session every Monday morning live on Facebook. And that's something that I offer out to the community as well. It's a 20-minute bring in the calm is what I call it, every Monday morning at 11 a.m. or I'm sorry, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. And if you guys want to join in, it's recorded. You can do it live or you can watch the rewatch. This is recorded and placed on my personal Facebook page and within the Breath Lady Project group page. So it's available for all for rewatch as well if you're not able to make the live.
If you want to promote it in wellness or some of the other groups, feel free.
I will start doing that for sure. I'll start dropping it in there, no problem. But this was absolutely marvelous. I think we got our message across.
Really fun. It's so cool that so many people showed up. I was like, my heart just was so warmed by it, right?
Honestly, I didn't know we were going to have so many people who had benefited from yoga. One more thing, and I'll thank you. And that is, I think, in addition to more yoga teachers, Rachel, we've talked about that for sure. We've also talked about the idea when we first started promoting your classes, I did that. I did a pretzel graphic, and we talked about no, you don't have to tie yourself into a pretzel. I think there's still some concern among stroke survivors that it's going to be over their head. So we have to do more work, in my opinion. We have to do more work on letting everybody know that it's really something that anybody can do, and that especially most any chair or adaptive yoga teacher is going to help you adapt. But particularly if you have somebody like Rachel or Angelia, who's also a stroke survivor, because they understand what you're going through with, not being able to lift your hand, using your other arm to lift up that affected left arm. And so anyway, I think that's something in addition to
Yeah, well, like I think
teachers
Nita
and
was
more
one that said
awareness
that
that
you're not even sure how to modify for yourself, right? And I think that that's a big thing, is that we want people to learn to modify some of their things that they used to do, or things that they maybe want to do, like, oh, I really would like to be able to do that, and then we like work towards that, or we just spend time modifying. I mean, do you know how many ways there are to do downward dog? You could literally do them in like 100 different ways with 100 different setups and support, and obviously not teaching 100 because that would be overwhelming, but finding the one that works for your body shape, right? We're all differently shaped, and so we wouldn't all be doing the same thing. We're going to have different. I have like behind me a stack of bolsters and stuff, because sometimes you need the oomph of support, right? That I'm not saying you don't get at a yoga studio or with an adaptive yoga teacher, because you do. I'm sure. I've been to a lot of really wonderful yoga classes. I've also been to some where people are like, so we still got some work to do within this community. And
well,
yeah,
we
we're
did.
here, right? We're here doing it. We're having the conversation and starting this, and really hearing how yoga has helped so many people, I think is so powerful. Like testimonials of, hey, I found out that I could put my hand, it was chair pose that we were doing when John said that his elbow, he didn't know that he could lift his elbow so much. And I was like, yeah, right? Physical therapy left me stuck at my shoulder pretty much with a dead arm. And now I've got a pretty good amount of mobility through this arm. Don't ask me about my hand though, because that's a different story. But I modify, and
those discoveries are so powerful in influencing your self-confidence and your self-awareness.
right, that's a
And
good thing to
that's
be said, because a major thing that again, when we do the workshop, we're going to talk more specifically about this, but self-efficacy, right? I think that's the right way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Is, being able to care for yourself and be independent and feel confident in your body, right? And that's something
Right.
that yoga really can give you.
Right.
When taught in the right circumstances. I actually think that yoga can often do the opposite, right? It can put somebody in a place of thinking that this sucks. I don't want to be in my body. I want to get the hell out. My mind is going crazy. My lower back is hurting. My knee has arthritis, all the things that we go through. And then just finding what works for you, right? And just building
Right.
up, really. Like,
Right.
Well, and adaptation's a state of mind. We did downward dog last week, Wednesday in yoga, in your yoga class, and I don't have a bolster, so I use that pillow right there. And
right. Oh, I love that, Ralph, because you don't have to have expensive yoga stuff to do yoga. You can reach around and grab a pillow, a towel. A freaking paper towel roll works really nice when you're coming into a seated fold. I'm sure everybody has a roll that they could take, right, and use, and not have to buy a $70 yoga bolster or something ridiculously expensive.
Well,
Can
that's
I ask you something? Is your yoga training specifically teaching stroke survivors? Because I'm a yoga teacher and I don't know how to do my modifications of these deficits. And I'd love to be able to teach stroke survivors. So is your yoga teacher training geared around that, or is it just learning the asanas and then learning how to modify them?
That's a good question. So the 200-hour yoga training is yoga, hatha yoga, chair yoga, and props, right? But it's a lot of the stuff that if you are already a yoga teacher trained, or long-time yoga, whatever, if you have a lot of yoga knowledge, you might be like, I don't necessarily want to know that, right? You've already learned it, or you already have that foundation, because we do talk about like the koshas and the values and all the energetic stuff. And so you're going to get all that stuff, and then the poses and adaptions, but also something that we are currently putting together is going to be a separate training for teachers, yoga teachers, PTs, OTs that don't want all the yoga stuff, but want the modifications and the ways to hold, support, teach other stroke survivors. So to answer your question, the 200-hour, I'm not sure would be the right place for you, but definitely the next training that we have is going to be a specific workshop where, and this is what we're hoping to do in person, right? Where we can get some stroke survivors together, get some professionals together, and let people see what this is like. You're not the first person that has asked me that. There are a lot of
it would be a really wise thing
teachers
to
that are stroke
schedule.
survivors that don't know what to do.
It would be a really wise thing to schedule a private session if you are able to with both of us or one of us. I believe we have one scheduled and is coming up, if I'm not mistaken. But it would be that if you want to learn some adaptions that will work specifically for your body, I would highly recommend to get on the schedule and get into a private space with one or both of us, because you can learn those adaptions.
Quite a bit about how to adapt a lot of poses. If you want a teacher like credentialed training, that you're going to get CEUs for, that is specific to a stroke population, you're just going to have to wait on that, because the thing is that I'm getting kind of a little bit of pushback in terms of how I can say that, because I cannot treat, diagnose, or offer help for any medical conditions as a yoga teacher, right? So calling it stroke yoga workshop was my first intention. And then I realized that there's just like a lot of red tape that doesn't allow me to work with the community as directly as I might want to. But that's okay. That's okay, because I'm going to continue to, I'll just call it something else. But yeah, it is going to be specific to my experience, our experience as a stroke survivor, and how we've modified into being able to do shoulder stands, headstands, back bends, all the fun kind of playful things that most people think I could never do that, right? And modifications of it. So you get, 3 versions of one pose for a body that maybe is hemiplegic, or a body that is stuck in spasticity, or let's say a person is just really into brain fog, right? Then you're going to do certain things with them. But I'm going to say right now, disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I am not a licensed medical professional. I cannot treat, diagnose, or anything, right? And that's for my own liability and for your own safety. Is that like, we have to say that. And we both say that at the beginning of classes and stuff. Yoga really is a journey that you're on kind of solo, you're kind of discovering this stuff on your own. And for a stroke survivor, that can be really just overwhelming, right? And so our job is to create community so that that doesn't have to feel so overwhelming. Like, oh, now I gotta find a yoga studio. Now I gotta go and find a yoga teacher that's not gonna look at me like I'm an alien or something. No, I don't want to do that. Like, we're here to make that a little easier and to just be available to build out workshops according to what people need. So that is like numero uno on the list. Not
Definitely.
the 200-hour though. I think that you would get bored in that probably, because that.
But for your personal path,
right?
for your
It's a lot
personal
of the
path, if
background
you would
stuff.
like to learn for your own healing, it would be a good idea to go ahead and move into a private session. Well, I think like at this point, like everything that we could say much further would be kind of redundant. So we really want to thank you all for honoring the space and making space for this conversation today. This has just been a very powerful meeting and discovery. You know, we are all
In
trying to heal together.
kind of sort of way.
We're all trying to heal together and building community. I would love to see you all these beautiful faces, come join us on Wednesday in our practice that we have. It's open and available for free for everybody.
I'll be
Thank you both.
Thank both of you. And just a reminder, everybody out in YouTube,
Thank you.
check the description for any and all links and contact information on both Rachel and Angelia. And thank you ladies very much, and namaste.
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 Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.